Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, stamp pickers. Stamp collecting is fun, and we're going to have a little look through here again to see what we can see. Is there anything of interest on random stamps that I'm looking at from this Centurion 16 album, which is jam-packed full of stamps, which is what we love and what we demand and what we crave. Not half. So, I thought what I'd do is return to this lovely little thing and maybe pick out one or two stamps and see what's written on them and what's happening upon them, etc. And what I want to start with today is this little beauty. Okay, so we stick this underneath and see what we can see, so to speak. Well, what we do see is some writing upon it. You'll have to. This could be. There we are. So we've got some writing on it. Paid. This is a used stamp, considering it wasn't actually. Well, it may have. Was it released? And was it then unissued? I don't know is the answer to that. But what we do have is an address, 17 New Shankford something or other road, maybe. Paid postage, maybe. There's nothing on the back. But I found that pretty interesting, really, that this stamp should be sort of used. I don't understand what's going on there. 17 New Shank for paid July 16th. But it was an interesting little thing to be. Someone has obviously teared this stamp out to keep the stamp, but he or she has raised more questions than answers, I would say, with what remains around the stamp. Anyway, we'll continue and see what else we can find around Edward VIII stamps. And here we have maybe, could be a similar sort of situation going on here. Again, there's writing all over it. The paid again, maybe. It's interesting, isn't it, that I thought this stamp you would only get minters because it wasn't released. Just shows how much I know. So never listen to anything I say and take it as gospel or read. Always doing your own research, and you need 2 or 3 references really to ensure that you're getting the right information around stamps, because there's a lot of discrepancies going on out in the world with regards to stamps. Now here we have another document, almost 1940, so it fits in with the stamp time, which is Victoria George anniversary, centenary almost. Well, definitely centenary, and it is something on a cheque, I think. So a cheque has been written, and you can see some of something 3, and then they've added a stamp to make up the rest, to make it a 5, and it's signed by the bank manager. Yeah, maybe. Let's pop it under, see what else we can see closer. Is there anything else there? Actually, I don't think there's anything. When we zoom in, just zoom in there, look at that. Look at that. Now, he's the king during the Second World War. This is George VI. Refused to leave Britain and go with his family to Canada. Was bombed. Buckingham Palace was hit by a bomb, and it was said he could then look the people of London in the eye. There we are. that's a nice bit of stuff. So what is this then? Well, here we have a George the V, and it's got holes all over it. Again, there's writing on it. Let's zoom this back a little bit. Is it possible to zoom back? Possibly. So that is separate. Again, I feel it's a financial document that has had a stamp added to it. Of course, a lot of these stamps had postage and revenue on them. So they were means of payment, they were currency. Not just for sending postcards to people, but also to pay bills. And of course, many bills were like in pennies or tuppences or threepences or shillings, so you could add stamps to it, even up to the 60s. You can't now, obviously. Nah. Bleep. You got to have one of those card things that goes bleep. And then she says, put your number in. And there's a queue behind one. I wonder what that says. Shell. Will it zoom? Will it focus? Ethel. That says Ethel. And I don't want Ethel Violet. Ethel Violet Seal could be lookupable as a person, as a member of the people. I think I may do that later on. Ethel. Yeah, I'll take that off and I'm not even sure what, yeah. There we are. Okay, we'll go to the next stamp. What is this? It's an interesting stamp. I don't even know what it is. But we'll stick it in there. Excuse my fingers. I'm not quite sure how to load these up. I don't think this is a postage stamp. On life insurance, it says Government, New Zealand, Life Insurance, State Security, Postage Department 1D. Someone's paying for their life insurance with a penny. Come on, that's better. Nice lighthouse. Resisting the waves. Yeah, that's quite nice, isn't it? That's quite nice. I'll take that out. Because I do have another stamp which I do not recognise. Put that one in. And it's this beauty. Let's zoom out. National I'm going to say National Savings. There we are. Excuse my very poor camera work. There we are. Nice yellow hat. Could be Britannia in that crown. National Savings. 09 maybe. 59 maybe. More likely. Does it count as a stamp? Probably not. It's more revenue than stamps, so maybe at this point we're seeing the differentiating betwixt and between postage and revenue. And that's why revenue no longer appears on stamps. This was the beginning of the end. Or possibly the end of the beginning. The sun has just come out, so it's making it difficult. So I'll just chuck that out. And we've got one more here. We'll have a look at it. The sun has just come out. How is that even possible? So while the sun's out, we've got an agricultural stamp. An agricultural stamp here. Insurance. Employment insurance. Agriculture. How interesting is that? GR George Rex. Probably 4.5D. Look at that. On paper. Something on the back. Counts or quartz. Again, somebody's just interested in the stamp, not the documentation around it. I find the documentation to be very, very interesting. For me. It's not for everyone. I'm not even with the sun out. I'm not even sure that this is. Yeah, it's difficult with the sun, so I'm going to turn that off. Yeah, that's quite nice. Move back. Have we got time for one more? I think so. There's a lot of stuff on paper here. That's not black, that's shadow that's been cast. Again, we seem to have some sort of signature. Paul, Sorby, I don't know. But it's interesting, there seems to be somebody's signature there. Wow. So it's reminiscent of Ethel Violet Seal or Deal. I'll look that one up after. 3 Halfpenny George the Fifth. I've not got any of his early stamps. The one with his three-quarter or quarter, looking not to the left but sort of halfway in. You know what I mean. I don't know the terminology. Here we have more signatures over and above. I suspect these are all to do with business. Not this one though. This will be postcard. So you see a bit of a postcard there. So someone's cut off the corner. I said to their young one, "Do you collect stamps?" And the young person says, "Yes, I do." So they say, "I'll save my stamps for you," and cut off the corner. Be better for me if they could have the complete postcard intact. For me, not for everyone. Just my opinion. Let's zoom in a little bit. Yeah, it's a nice stamp. Yeah, he was a big stamp fan, and his very early stamps he was not pleased with. He didn't think that the profile was very good. And this one took off momentously. It showed him at his best, I think. The Sailor King. All he wanted to do was be a sailor. And then when his older brother died, he had to come away from the Navy and prepare for government. 3 halfpennies again. Something est. Coupled together. SMRP. I think these were, again, for security reasons. Also, this is 2p orange. Shows on the back. More old stuff on paper. It's the first time the sun's shining all the time. Thanks there. J. Cooper. Yeah, they're paying bills and they're being signed off. That is interesting. That is a different usage, which is no longer in modern day usage. So 3 halfpennies and another halfpenny, which is twopence. This one here is... This is an Edward VII. Penny red. Nice cancel, nice date here, April 25th, 1903, so that's quite nice. More. Thanks again. by the look of it. By that I mean thanks is there. Or could be Strickle. Don't know. Kearney, but a date, October the 29th, 1910. That is quite nice. Said church. So some church document maybe. And again, it's an Edward the 7th. Final one. Back to George the 5th. I'm just looking at CA. Combe. Co. I don't know where that is. I used to be I pride myself that I know a lot of places in England, and I don't recognise that at all. Coombe. If it was Coombe, yeah, but no. Anyway, 16 minutes have gone. We've had a little look at, interesting stuff around messy stamps, if you will. Also, when there's a stamp, not a stamp, that is a holy mess. I know one or two would just chuck that in the bin, but I ain't got any others. It is torn, it is ripped, it's been through the wars. But I love them. Even that one, that's a holy mess. I'll look at that name, and I'll put that in the description below if I find anything. Thanks for watching, everybody. Enjoy your day. The sun is now going in again, and we'll be setting shortly. Have a fantastic day. Goodbye from me. Goodbye. And goodbye from him too. Goodbye.